Hello, I'm Tracy Sinclair, and with me...
Robert Forgit. Good to have you this evening. It's kind of nice out. The weather's been great.
It's beautiful. They can't see out the window, but we've got these puffy clouds and some beautiful blue sky right outside our window here in Midtown Anchorage. Pulling my earpiece behind me. So we are going to do a quick weather update, give you kind of an idea of what you're expecting over the next probably 4 or 5 days across Alaska as we look forward to. So if you are watching, we'd love to hear from you. Tell us where you're watching. If you got something special weather-wise going on or a specific question, let us know. I'm going to let Robert do most of the weather part of it, and I'm just going to be kind of reviewing comments.
And you know, your comment about looking ahead, I kind of want to clarify some things, because we'll do a 7-day forecast, but actually a forecast is only about 3 days out. The rest is what I call an outlook. So to project 4 or 5 days out, this is hard to do. So when you're looking at the forecast, the first 3 are pretty solid. And then after that, we call it a weather outlook. So that, especially out to 7, we're kind of looking at the models and seeing what they're thinking is going to happen, but a lot can happen in 7 days.
Well, and that's the thing, is that so much can change, you know, from now. The analogy I use is that back when Tom Brady was playing football, it was always like, you know, Brady's going to play, his team's going to win, right? But then all of a sudden he hurts himself.
That's right.
Things change, you know. Teams might not win. So things continue to change and continue to progress. So we do keep changing. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on right now.
We're going to show you Anchorage right now. If you look here, this is our live shot. Beautiful out. We've had some very nice weather. We have had some windy conditions. Yesterday was very windy. Even now we're starting to see some windy conditions, especially out at the airport where we show your temperatures. Right now we're south-southeast 14 miles per hour, guessing 25. And that makes it feel cooler. But we have had in the Anchorage Bowl a lot of nice weather this weekend, so much so that things really greened up for folks that like gardening, for folks that just want to see everything turn green. In the last 48 to 96 hours, things have just bloomed, and everyone's sneezing.
Yes, I have been sneezing on the set, so I know that that's true. I've got my seasonal allergies going, and I have a friend that came to town, and it was just like, please let it be green before she leaves. And lo and behold, it is turned green out there. So just looking at that picture from one of our up cameras out in Eagle River, it's amazing. It looks like a summer in Alaska. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. And as we take a look, we can look at the current conditions, and especially around South Central, seeing some sunshine in Talkeetna. We do have a chance for the Susitna Valley and also up near the Talkeetna Mountains to see a band of showers. I think we'll see it on the radar when we go to the next capture. But we have what they call an easterly wave, and that easterly wave is moving from the east to the west, and it'll happen over the next 6-7 hours. So expect those showers, especially through the valley, up even near Talkeetna as a possibility. But temperatures, very spring-like, 57 for Palmer, 56 right now, Wasilla. It's a fairly nice day. Kenai 50. I did mention at the 5 o'clock news down in Soldotna, they had what you call a little, they're not tornadoes, but little dust devils, but they do cause damage because they spin around. They look like a tornado, but not quite a tornado from the fact of the origin. So they saw 2 of them. They saw one right over the Sterling Highway, and the other one started at the hospital, I think, ended at the beach. It, you know, uplifted a few things like trampolines, a few shingles. So yeah, they had that happen this afternoon around 3 o'clock. So, you know, as we get the heating, there's a lot of things that happen. Air becomes unstable. We start to see thunderstorms. We saw those yesterday just to the east of Bethel, and we'll continue to see that as things warm up. So let's go ahead and look and see if we can. We'll go back. You know, it is spring season. This is the River Watch time period where we look at the Yukon, the Kuskokwim, all of the rivers, Porcupine, the Quethk, they all start to you know, melt, and we do have warnings, watches, and advisories currently. Most of them are caused by ice jams. That's one way where the water, basically the ice jams and the water has to go around it because all the snow melts. That is the primary way we have flooding up in the valley, but we do have, or say up in the interior sections, and we do have it pretty much from Bethel all the way up to Fairbanks. So the upper Yukon, lower Yukon, we're seeing that, and a little bit of the Kuskokwim, though I do see that we don't have the watches that we used to have down near the Bethel area. So things will, as they say, mush out, and as they do, expect things to start to get clear and the flooding potential to be less. The one thing I do want to mention on this is if you do see or are asked to evacuate by your local emergency managers or community managers, take heed and definitely go and evacuate. Don't wait, don't try to second guess. If the emergency managers say, hey, head to higher ground, head to higher ground. It's just a safety thing. Don't stay in the home. It's not safe to do that. So.
Yeah, and one of the things that I found interesting was that the flooding that we saw earlier this week in Glen Allen area, that was not a river ice jam. That was due to snow melt.
Snow melt,
and that situation, because I had a friend say something about that, and it's like, no, it's a different situation. Still a lot of impact in that area, but really coming from a different source. And so the ones that we're still seeing now, primarily on the Yukon and some of the smaller rivers, those are all those because of the ice jams.
Yeah. And what happens, it jams, and as you know, if you're in those areas and have been in those areas, that water has to go somewhere. It's coming upstream, goes around the ice, and starts to flood the communities. And we've had some big ones, Eagle, Crooked Creek over the years. Galena was a big one for us a few years ago. So
Buckland this year also in the last couple of days has had water up to doorsteps.
There's always these problematic areas, the corners, the turns, and the rivers, and those places really see that ice just kind of build up.
Yeah,
So let's go ahead and look.
Water's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, let's keep looking. As you can see on the radar here, notice how clear it is north of Fairbanks. High pressure has been really the dominant feature. It's kept things rather dry, but the clouds that you're seeing, see how they're moving from east to west to south of Fairbanks and north of Anchorage. That's the easterly wave I was talking about, and you can see those little green areas around the highways. Those are the showers that are moving through right now and will continue into the overnight hours. Getting a little closer, you can see those moving up through the valley to the Talkeetna Mountains. Once it hits the range, typically all that moisture drops and it's drier on the other side. That's pretty much the standard pattern. Looking ahead, we do have a big low pressure system that's going to be moving through the Gulf of Alaska. It's going to bring some very windy and rainy conditions to Kodiak. Dillingham, you might see some rain tomorrow, but for the most part, as we get through Monday, it starts to impact much of the south central area. Even in Anchorage, we might even see some rain developing on Tuesday or mostly on Wednesday as that last push of that low pressure system moves. You can see the center of that will be just to the south of Kodiak, and the associated front goes from Ketchikan through Juneau all the way to Anchorage and down to Dillingham. So I'm expecting to see a little bit of rain, which is needed. We actually need the rain this time of year to stop the forest fires. We are seeing lightning strikes with some of the instability already in the interior. Not so much today, but yesterday we did. And with dry conditions and lightning strikes, sets up, again, some fire danger. So we're at that point where we need the rain, but we like the sunshine. So it's one half dozen another, right?
Right. That we do all like the sunshine, but I know I was talking to a climatologist once, and we were talking about even when you get rain and we have all this snow melt, it doesn't stay in those top soils, particularly any dry grasses. It doesn't stay there for very long. That moisture quickly evaporates out or sinks down deeper into the soil. So we still have that layer of really dry at this time of year, and we're not getting a lot of rain coming through. So this is when our lightning starts cutting up, and this is when our fires in Alaska start ticking up, so we have to be extra cautious at
And
this
when you
point.
get the wind, that dries things out. It really dries and takes all that humidity just off the surface, and it makes it really conducive for fires and fire starting. So just be careful, and of course, watch and make sure you heed all the warnings. If there's a burn ban, don't burn. So that's the key.
Yeah, on Friday it was really interesting. We had flood watches, basically too much water, and then right next to it, fire weather watches.
That's right.
So this really interesting dichotomy of too much water and still too dry.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and keep looking. Here's our forecast for tomorrow. You'll see a lot of freezing fog up on the slope. That's pretty common this time of year. 38 in Dead Horse, 35 in Utqiagvik. Get down the coast, mostly cloudy skies. We'll see rain in Kodiak, out in the Aleutians. A mixture of clouds and some showers, especially for Cold Bay. Temperatures in the mid-40s. Down in the southeast panhandle, a little drier weather. They've had some rain, so Ketchikan might even hit 60. I have 56 there for tomorrow and some sunshine. Juneau, expecting to see some sunshine and 54 degrees. And do we have anything on
Nathan
Facebook?
jumped in and just said, wow, but we do, check in. Let us know where you're watching from. We're both on, of course, Facebook. We're on our live stream, and we are on also our YouTube channel. So lots of ways for people to watch us.
Yeah, we have viewers on there, so if you want to say something, let us know. If you have a question, also ask us on Facebook, and we'll be glad to try to answer that for you. Southeast Panhandle, again, I mentioned some nice weather. We're going to see some sunshine temperatures. I have 61 right there.
Not quite as hot as it was last week in Southeast, but still nice.
Still nice, and it's always nice in the Southeast. They get this deluge of rain, and then all of a sudden what happens is they get that nice sunshine. So people love to live in the Southeast when it's sunny.
It's beautiful.
We'll take a look at the Kenai Peninsula and Kodiak. For that area, we're again going to see the influence of that low pressure system. So rain along the coastal sections, a little windier conditions, especially in Kodiak. Kenai, it'll be 55, 57 in Soldotna with some east winds, 10 to 15 miles an hour. Glen Allen, looking like 58 and some sunshine. Hey, we just got a note from Judy. Judy, hey, she's listening in from Muldoon. Thanks for chiming in there. Really good. We got some people watching from Missouri. We love having you, Barb. Thanks a lot. Nice to hear from Missouri. So I've got some friends in Kansas City, so that's nice. I'm sure the temps are warmer. You might have thought the temps would be warmer in Alaska, but we're still trying to creep out of the springtime. So we're hoping for some nice warm weather in the next. I think we'll break 60 in South Central sometime in the next 6 or 7 days officially, and that's measured at the airport. But hey, going back to Prince William Sound and the Copper River Basin, still some cooler temperatures along the coastal sections as a result of the clouds at Glen Allen, 58, and look for those winds out of the southeast at 10. Up in the Matsu Valley, they're in the 60s already. Beautiful. You saw with Dave Allgood how beautiful the weather was. They were doing a bike ride in Talkeetna. For those of you that don't know, I love Talkeetna. It's one of my favorite towns. There's so much going on. It's where all the climbers for Denali go to. That's where they make sure they're prepped and ready, and then they're flown in to base camp into the range and try to make their ascent and wherever they might do that, where it's the West Buttress, which we've talked about with one of the climbers this week that they found, and with minor injuries, which was amazing. Yeah. And he was medevaced. And then it's just a wonderful place, though, Talkeetna, and just a great town. So looking at 60s for that. A little closer to home for Anchorage and also for Girdwood, be at 55 tomorrow. The wind's somewhat light, southeast about 5 to 10. Always like to do our 7-day forecast. Again, a forecast the first 3 days and then an outlook. We're looking at some cloudy skies, and with cloudy skies, temperatures get a little cooler. We're probably going to see 55 tomorrow, 55 on Wednesday with hopefully a little bit of rain and a chance of rain on Thursday and Friday. Those nighttime lows still in the mid-40s, but for those out of state, these temperatures are fine. We like them much better than wintertime. So it's really nice to see, and people are much happier this weekend, except for those with allergies. But we're starting to see those gardens blossom. We've got little flowers. We have gardens around our house, and we're starting to get those little early flowers. They're beautiful. So
I don't have any flowers yet, but my peonies are this tall.
So are ours. Yeah, they're just growing up, which is always nice to see those peonies, because when they do pop, they are beautiful. With all the light we get some pretty big peonies.
Yeah, so I'm all set for the springtime and ready to hit summer here in just a couple of weeks. Yeah. Robert, thank you so much for giving this update. Now we will be back at 10 o'clock. I'll have news. Robert will have the weather. You want to join us as we look forward and give you the latest day's news. That's on Alaska's News Source and alaskasnewssource.com on our live stream.
Have a good evening. See you soon.